Welcome to the Common Man UFC Episode 1. I'm Charlie Prien, joined by Cole Larsch and Caden Kulm. And the hope of this podcast is to kind of navigate and give our perspective on the UFC scene across the globe. And I think we have some interesting takes that might be interesting for you, as well as some fun things, fun items, fun ideas we'll bring to you throughout these future episodes. So I'm excited to get into this, guys. I'm really happy that we can be sat down for this episode, the only episode we'll have without microphones, may I add. So we're going to make this thing happen. But today is July 16th, and this weekend, UFC 318, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to look back at last week's fight night, going to look ahead to UFC 318 as well. I mean, I just want to preface this by saying these guys are the guys that know everything. I'm just a voice kind of sitting here in the corner, so I just want to preface by saying that. But I'm really excited. I think this is going to be great. I think, just three guys talking shop pretty much what it's going to turn into.
And Caden came to us with this idea, and we're like, oh, this is a great idea. But Caden, kind of expand on this, kind of the name of the podcast, the Common Man Podcast, as far as it goes.
Yeah, most of the time, I feel like most of what we see is kind of either retired fighters or people that are really been into the sport. We're not new to it, but we're kind of casual. So Common Man, we're for everyone to watch, everyone to enjoy, have some common takes. We're gonna have some bad takes. That will.
Oh, yeah. We will.
We're definitely gonna have probably have a lot of bad takes today, but that's okay because that's the name. We're supposed to.
For sure. So our hope through this is to kind of have a rigid schedule in these episodes to an extent, but veer off of it when we feel like it. You'll see a lot of the same segments and clips in these shows, but it can change however it decides to by us. But our hope is to kind of give you guys some expected content, and we're hoping to get one of these out at least when there's a fight night, or especially when a main huge card is coming up, like the one we have this weekend, which is 318. All right, let's talk about what happened this weekend. The big fight last Saturday, Derek Lewis and Teixeira. A big win for Derek Lewis Saturday night.
Vintage Derek Lewis. He got his knockout. He got his many celebrations and called out whoever. He wants that title shot, and I think he might just get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on. Talk about the fight and the stoppage. There was maybe. Then afterwards, everything made sense. And Derek Lewis in the 17 post-game interviews, his shorts came off right away. His cup went into the 8th row or something like that. And I think if he's got a couple more fights in him, maybe, I think they're going to be really entertaining no matter who he fights, because that's just the way he is. And I'm looking forward to the next time he steps in.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack about his fight. And I texted Caden right away. Cole and I weren't in the same room when the fight happened, but I texted Caden right away. I'm like, what are your thoughts on that stoppage? Because it seemed like, and I did see him grab the cage when he went up. If for those watching that are unaware, Derek Lewis just, mollywopped him right off the bat, and Teixeira used the cage to get up, and then the fight was called.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on it? I don't know.
Lewis played possum, which he's done before. He pretended kind of like he got poked in the eye, and Teixeira obviously either didn't know he was going to do that or obviously wasn't prepared for it. Knocked him down. I thought it should have been stopped on the ground. He was getting his head beat in, and he wasn't really defending himself. In my opinion, I don't think he should have a chance to even stand up. It should have been stopped on the ground. Gets up with the fence, and it should have been stopped. So I agree with it, but some people didn't, and I could see that way too, because it seemed like he was fine when he got up, but he was still a little wobbly. So I liked the stoppage.
And how important is it to you guys and maybe even the people watching to have a clean finish versus whatever that was?
I think sometimes for me as one of the more casual UFC guys that stopped it, I'm just he's obviously still he seemed attentive and he seemed okay, but then you watch it back and you heard all the explanations in the post-fight that they did on ESPN Plus when it continued, and everyone just explained what was happening. That makes way more sense, but since I didn't know it in the time, it was I would have just rather seen Derek Lewis just knock him out cold. I guess that's more my style, but I mean, yeah, once it got explained to me, I'm like, yeah, it makes way more sense, and yeah, it should have been stopped.
So let's talk about some earlier fights. Actually, I want to go back to one more point. I have one more point to bring up. Did either of you guys listen to his post-fight interview?
Like right in the cage?
Right in the cage, where Daniel Cormier said, "Hey, who do you want to call out? Who do you want to fight next?"
That was great. That was awesome.
all-time clip. I recommend you check it out. But
he loves ground and pound.
The ground and pound, baby. Ground and pound. I showed that to my girlfriend, and she was like, "He did that?" And I'm pretty sure his wife was standing right behind him in the cage.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
and they panned to her.
Like she's never usually there, but she was there that time, and he just doubled down on it.
Because then they asked him about it, like in the press conference that he did after, and his wife was giving like a thumbs up in the back of the room from it, so she was with it.
My last point on this main card: what's the future look like for Teixeira at heavyweight?
I don't know. I don't remember if he was still ranked or not. He probably is, to be honest.
Well, that was his first loss in the UFC.
Yeah. Heavyweight's a mess.
It is.
I think he stays ranked. Derek Lewis is just a tough fight, but I don't really know. It could be a toss-up. I think give him another ranked guy. If he loses, then there's different conversations to have, but I think he gets another ranked guy. Younger, less experienced ranked guy.
And I think we learned a lot about Teixeira that night as well, but I think he took a lot from that fight. I mean, Derek Lewis, there's a reason the guy runs the middle parts, if you will, or the upper parts now of that class. So I guess he's was 9 ranked, 9th ranked before that. But he came in as the dog at plus 210 odds and ended up 35-second fight was the final clip. Let's go to the fight before that. Stephen Thompson ends up losing to Gabriel Bonfim. Thoughts there, Caden?
It was 1-1 going to the third. Stephen Thompson got controlled the whole third round. People didn't like that. Stephen Thompson landed one big kick, kind of put him back a little bit, but otherwise he got controlled most of the third round. People didn't like that he won because he just laid on him, basically is what people were saying, but I think the correct decision was made.
And how much enjoyment do you get, Cole, from watching two guys that are probably extremely fatigued go that distance, but at the same time, like Caden said, just kind of lay on each other at a point where the audience was booing them?
Yeah, I think it's kind of that fine line because you want to see because especially when everybody gets so fatigued, you never really know what's going to happen. You just get one solid hit and they're done, or you can just get that instance where they're just like, oh, let's try to get control, and I'm just going to sit here in the same position for 15 seconds, and then I'm going to move my arm a little bit, and that's about it. I mean, I enjoyed watching it still, not nearly as much as a hard hitting where they're just going at it constantly, but that's just the different sides of UFC. You're going to get different types of fights.
Yeah, widely observed as Thompson's last fight in the UFC, and I think Bonfim knew that going into it, but and a lot of respect for Stephen Thompson. And I mean, I definitely see how he didn't get the win, but props to the guy.
Could have gone either way, and Thompson did fall out of the rankings now because he was 14. He's not ranked anymore, so maybe one more. Maybe they give him a send-off fight, but who knows? Well, he's older, so
yeah,
you never know.
So as I mentioned, I don't know if we see Thompson again, like you said, but a big win for the man from Brazil. Moving down the card a little bit more, we have a couple points, unless you guys want to hit any. I would like to talk about the Tuco Tokos fight and the respect that I gained for that guy. I gave you guys the link. You guys can check it out in front of you as I'm mentioning it. But Tukos wins by submission at the 425 mark. Came in as the dog. And guys, Tukos, let me see his record. Why can't I?
He's 11-5.
11-5. He seemed very, what's the word I'm looking for? Aware, content, but also understanding of you don't need to rush. And he just played so methodically in the ring. It seemed like he knew exactly what Junior Tafa was going to do next.
He looked like a veteran out there. He looked really good. And I mean, all props to him. Tafa came into the UFC 4-0. He started at heavyweight, went 2-3 at heavyweight, moves down to light heavyweight, and just gets dominated. I don't know how much longer he'll be in the UFC, but credit to Tuco regardless. I mean, 5 takedowns in less than 2 rounds and submits him, and it was a very impressive submission. I think he's got a future, definitely. He might get a bigger fight next.
So, Cole, how much do you think it went into him dropping down a weight class? Dropping down a weight class, you'd think, hey, if I'm going to drop down a weight class, I'm going to maul these guys. You know, how much does that come into your mental as well when you're fighting a guy like Tuco Tokos, who just flat out, you know, in my opinion, ran the fight for the first, 425 until that end.
I think there's so many different layers to it. You can take it as many different ways as you want. I think you just got to keep on looking back to Tuco and say, I mean, he just had a really good fight, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He executed that plan perfectly, and I'd like to say that me picking Tuco in that fight and having some money on him helped him out. I think that's the route I'm going to take, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different mental layers, but at some point you just got to look at Tuco Tokos and say, wow, that was a great fight. He's a great fighter, and there's just not much more I can do about that.
And sometimes you just have it, and some nights you don't.
Yeah, sure.
And point back to the moving divisions. Heavyweight to light heavyweight's a lot different than moving any other division.
Right.
Because you could be up, I don't know what Tafa was fighting at, but you could be up at 250, 260, and you have to get down to that 205. Like, it's different than moving from different divisions because that's only 10, 15 pound difference. This could have been a lot of weight, but I thought he looked good physically, but yeah, he didn't fight very well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Tokos. I thought that was one of the most controlled fights of the night, especially on a guy who was really hyped to win the thing.
Yeah.
Coming into it, Tafa was favored minus 162, so a big swing that night. It was fun to watch. The total strikes was 31-25 in that one. And Tafa never took the guy down. It was 5-0 in that aspect. So, Tokos with the win. I thought that was fun to watch. Other fights on that card, I have one more that I want to mention. But any really big ideas or really big opinions on that Morgan? Sure. How do you say that last name, kid? You know?
Which fight?
The Sherari and Landwehr, I think. Is it Sherari?
Oh yeah. I'm not sure, but that was a good fight. Should we click on the video now?
Yeah, we can click on the video. So I got a video for these guys. I'd like them to click it. Check this out. This was one of the fights of the night. This was the fight of the night, the submission of the night, in my opinion. This is, let me get to it, Jake Matthews, the Australian, over Chidi Jokwani, something like that. Matthews was the dog here. Check out that.
That's impressive. It's honestly impressive. Like, he didn't throw him off his back either. He stayed on. He stuck. That's impressive. Sometimes you can see him fall off or like you throw him over. So that's impressive. That's definitely a good win for him. Definitely.
So to describe what happened, Matthews goes over the top, and I presume as a triangle. Goes over the top, stays on the back of Jokwani, I think is the last name pronunciation, if I don't want to butcher it. But it's a pretty impressive choke. What do you do in that position? What do you do as the guy who's getting choked?
I was watching an LFA fight. It was in Sioux Falls a couple months ago, and it was kind of the same thing. He had him on his back, and the guy was like trying to pull him back, and the dude who was being choked grabbed the fence. So he was like getting pulled back, so it got even tighter. It was crazy. There's not really a lot you can do. Some of those submissions, it's just you're just gonna have to tap because it just wasn't your night.
Yeah, you just get caught in a tough spot, and you're like, I just try to ride it out as long as you can.
You know, what's the thought of? And this was the only thing that I could think of. It's like when I wrestled and I was really in a tough spot, and I knew I was wrestling somebody that was much better than I was. I would do some dumb stuff. Immediately what I was thinking, if I'm bent over like the position that he's in right now, you gotta try to drop the guy on his head. That's the only option you have. It's either that or you tap on the ground.
Yeah.
So I mean, why not leave your feet, because you're already exhausting your own body weight plus someone else's. And body weight is such a huge factor in the UFC.
That's a tough spot to be in.
And I think that's one thing that like the casual common person doesn't understand enough. about ground game, and specifically when someone gets on top of somebody, is it's taking the energy out on them because they have a human being on top of them. Their blood's flowing. They can't breathe as easily. And you're exhausting the person on the bottom more than yourself. So having a good, top ground game or just a good top game, being on top is so crucial, and good fighters know how to do that. But that was just another big part of it is how can you stay on top? How can you have the position? And I think the only thing you can do in that is to just do a somersault realistically and try to knock the guy out.
Yeah.
It was impressive. It was a good finish there, definitely.
So that was pretty much our recap of the Derek Lewis and Teixeira fight. Now let's talk about the news that came out
The 4th.
Yeah, the 4th of July. So they, Donald Trump actually said it. He wants to have the big UFC fight. I don't know what number it'll be exactly.
No.
300 and something.
And they might not even put a number on it because the UFC Noche they did, the Sphere did not. I mean, it had a number, but it wasn't advertised or anything. So I guess UFC White House is what they would go with.
Yeah.
But either way, that's pretty darn cool. What are your guys' thoughts on it? We can dive into a bunch of stuff that's happened this week and the following, and a lot of the people who want to fight at the White House.
I think it's going to be interesting because they're not just going to put together a ho-hum card for it. Like they are going to, if the rumor is true that this is going to happen, they're going to put together what I'm presuming would be an all-time card. Like you can't just throw, like we're going to get to it in a little bit, like you can't just throw this Saturday's card on the White House and say, let's go.
No, probably not.
Like there's going to be a lot of big names, a lot of really big time fights. I don't know who they're going to be. There's a lot of names floating around.
Big names.
Yeah, a lot of big names floating around too. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see like how they're going to pull it off, where they're going to do it, and we can get to it in a little bit, but where it's going to be streamed on as well.
One thing that I just thought of, guys, and to rack your brain here, I do know that the vice president and the president hasn't been invited, but I'm pretty sure that the vice president has agreed to it. Donald Trump will be in South Dakota on July 3rd, 2026. Out in Mount Rushmore.
Fireworks show Mount Rushmore, yeah.
So he's already agreed to that. So, I mean, think about that. What goes into that? Going from South Dakota to eventually the White House, to where one of the biggest sporting events in the history of the United States is taking place. One thing before I let Caden talk, the reason this is happening is I believe it's like the bicentennial or
it's 250th of the U.S. Yep.
So with that, if you go back to what history repeats itself, the last bicentennial, it was judo at the White House, and I believe Roosevelt was the president. He had judo at the White House. Lots of people came. But combat sports at the White House, bicentennial, it's a thing. Continue on, I'll add that.
Yeah, good card. It'll be a good card. I mean, we've heard the rumors, McGregor and Jones like 2 days after. He's like, yeah, I want to fight there. McGregor, apparently, they both re-entered the testing pool within the last 2 weeks, which is a big step in the right direction, more than just your words, because you can't fight unless you're in the testing pool for, I'm not sure what the number is.
150 days, I believe. 130 days.
Something like that, yeah. So, like, it's a step in the right direction for sure, but we will see. I would really, really like to see a John Jones send-off against Aspinall. Win or lose, greatest fighter of all time, I think deserves a proper send-off that everyone knows this is it, and that is going to sell. That is going to do numbers. Even if you get McGregor or Jones, you get one of them, it's going to sell. You get both of them, it's going to fly by McGregor versus Khabib pay-per-view for number one all time, I think.
Yeah.
So it's 6 calendar months is the official
180 days.
pool.
There you go.
So say John Jones comes back, gets in the testing pool, and stays, with his regiment and gets into a camp as he does. Who does he fight? You'd assume a champ fight. Caden Kulm, do you know who is the current interim champ, if you will, at the heavyweight spot?
Aspinall. He is the actual champ. He is not interim anymore.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually. So I think it'll be a title defense when Aspinall fights, and that's a whole other conversation for who he's going to fight. But
Now, Cole, I bring this up. I was hoping you would say his name. Do you know where he's from by chance?
Who?
Tom Aspinall.
You're asking the wrong guy.
he's from England.
He is from England.
He is.
So on July 4th, the day we celebrate our independence from England, we are going to have, presumably, now this is just a rumor, the United States and England in one of the biggest, if not the biggest, UFC event in the history of the world, history of the known universe, and it's celebrating the bicentennial, the independence from the country that this guy is from.
What a win that would be, huh?
What a win!
What a
That'd be
moment.
awesome. That'd be awesome.
But that's another thing I thought I'd provoke you guys with a fun thought. But no, I think that's interesting. McGregor comes back. Who does he fight, or is he an undercard fight, guys?
Oh, he's co-main. He's definitely co-main. I think probably Chandler. Chandler keeps losing. Chandler's wanted that fight for 5 years. I think you make it happen. McGregor could fight one of us, and it's going to do numbers. It really doesn't matter. A co-main, I think, would be perfect. So I would love to see that, definitely.
Yeah.
One thing I want to rack your guys' brains with now is the logistics part of that. I mentioned Donald Trump and JD Vance have pretty much agreed to be in South Dakota July 3rd. July 4th, however, is when they have this scheduled to be, or at least talked about it. What does that look like? Where could they do this? Where do you guys want them to do this? How can people attend? You don't want to do it outside. What if it's hot? Washington's pretty hot in the summer. How do you do this? Air conditioned, smart, have gyms, have locker rooms, have it be an event that is worth coming to. And how much does this have to, there's a lot of logistics part of this. What do you guys want to see?
So I've heard a couple, there's a lot of things we can talk about here, but I've heard it's going to be on the front lawn. But yeah, I never even thought it's going to have to be inside or some building over it, because you can't really just fight outside and depend on the weather, because 4th of July this year, it downpoured. But yeah, front lawn would be cool, a little background shot of the White House. But I heard it's going to be invite only. I heard you're not going to be able to buy tickets, which definitely will help pay-per-view sales.
Sure.
Not that you could get that many people on the front White House lawn anyway, but
You'd get some big swingers, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can have it be. I think the UFC fighters depend on the crowd at moments.
yes.
And it's a big part of the sport. But at the same time, I think that if you don't have a big crowd there, what's that atmosphere like? Is it like the NBA bubble?
It kind of brings you back to the Fight Island when they did that, where there's not really a lot of people there, but I think they'd get a couple thousand still. Get some stands, invite only. I mean, there's going to be some big names there. I think it'd be a really cool event, definitely.
And there's going to be people outside the gates, too, trying to watch. Just everything outside looking in.
It'll be interesting to see what the whole setup looks like. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be cool. We'll definitely be watching it, that's for sure.
I think the whole world will be
Yes.
watching that rather than their local fireworks show. But no, I'm really excited for that. What's the security detail look like as well? You're going to have some of the biggest politicians. It's already being made a political deal by both parties, and it's unfortunate because it's really not about that. It's about the sport, and it's about our country as well. So, but either way, however you see it, I think it's a great thing to have one of the biggest moments in the sport of the UFC happening at one of the premier places in the United States of America and in the world, at the White House in Washington, D.C. Fellas, my last question with you before we move on to our card this week. The ESPN deal is up December 31st, 2025, and changes over to an open market on January 1st. You'd assume that word's going to be coming out at some point in the near future, but who fills that spot, and how does that affect what happens at the White House for what would be a cash cow of a pay-per-view fight?
I think adding even just the White House, obviously the rights deal, it's going to sell for millions and millions of dollars. Adding that because they know it's going to sell. Also, depending on who buys it, they might go away from the pay-per-view. But being able to sell ads for the White House that is going to do insane numbers, And Dana I don't remember what podcast he was on, but he said they're going to find somewhere they can get a lot of more global coverage. So I would assume Amazon or Netflix would be who they would go with. I'd like to see Netflix, honestly, because they would be more likely to go away from the pay-per-view, I think. And they're doing that Crawford versus Canelo fight in September that Dana's also promoting for free on Netflix. And I think that maybe that's a little tester for Dana to see if they can. Obviously, it's not going to do numbers, but away from the White House, pay-per-views for free would be up. No pay-per-view, free fights. I think it'd be awesome. It'd definitely bring more people to the sport, I think. And you could just selling that ad space so much more money. I think it makes sense. I think the pay-per-view model is too old. With all the illegal streaming people do now, it's just it doesn't work like it used to, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think your biggest contender right now is Netflix, just because they've gotten in the NFL, they've gotten in the NBA,
Boxing.
They're doing boxing. They're getting into that. They're getting all kind of sports, and they're showing that, especially with the NFL games, like, okay, this is working, and it's working really well. Because turns out a lot of people have Netflix.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, here we go. We got Netflix. It's included. We can watch the game for free with our Netflix. I'm like, this is sweet. I think it'd be almost no-brainer, especially, like you said, if Dana wants to get more global connections with that. I think that's probably the route they go.
To add on to your point, Cole, I think that there was a scare for a time, specifically for guys like us, who really enjoy the personalities that come with those networks. And if you put Netflix on and you're seeing some 27-year-old college kid on the mic who maybe is okay, but the producer and the production and the people, the camera work isn't all that great, I mean, you get scared a little bit. We were scared heading in to that Netflix Christmas football series. We didn't know what was going on, and they got announced that, hey, we have a pretty good cast. We have a similar setup to what CBS and Fox are doing. We have a home studio where we're recording, where we have a halftime show, where we come back. The announcers are, Greg Olson was the color guy on that. I mean, that is important to have, and I feel like whoever takes over this UFC contract moving forward needs to keep a similar type of production flow. Like we talked about this on our podcast. Can they keep the UFC font? I mean, the ESPN has. It comes down to that type of stuff. But at the same time, is it going to feel like UFC on January 1st? I hope so. But with who is the big question.
Yeah.
It will definitely look different because, you look back in the past, Fox, obviously, Scorebug, everything looks different. And I'm not really too worried about that. The commentators would be number one for me. You got to keep Joe Rogan. You got to keep Daniel Cormier. You got to keep those. John Anik, very good. They have the chemistry. People know them. If everything else is different, but the commentators are the same, there's a familiarity. I think that works. Whatever else happens.
Yeah.
That was a big thing of when ESPN kind of expanded their Monday Night Football coverage. They went from having the possibility of one game to now 2 games on a Monday night. Well, then they brought Aikman and Buck over, and now it's big for ESPN and what they're doing, taking them from Fox. Fellas, let's talk about the big one this weekend, UFC 318. And as you mentioned, the big names, John Anik, Daniel Cormier, and Paul Felder. Rogan will not be here this week.
Surprising.
He's surprised. That is very surprising for a fight like this.
And not, very surprising, I think. But
so a few people concerned about this. There are plenty of articles about it. You can read up on it yourself. I'm a big Joe Rogan guy. I've actually been to his comedy club. Pretty cool. A setup he has down there in Austin. So not on the mic this weekend, but a huge setup this weekend for 318 and the big fight, the BMF belt, Caden.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They fought 2 times before with Poirier taking both of them. So we'll see how this goes. Max is a few years younger, and age can catch up to a guy like Poirier. He's not that much older, but they've both taken a lot of damage in their career, so we'll see. They haven't met for a few years. I think it's 5 or 6 years they haven't met for. So their last fight was very, very good. Both fights have been good. The last fight was very, very good. So we'll see. Be a good one. Be a very good fight.
I don't know what Holloway had to do to get where he's at weight-wise, but I feel like he wouldn't have to cut a whole lot just, being at that lightweight. I feel like Poirier might have to do a lot of cutting, guys, just based off of the videos and the camp stuff that I'm seeing of him. I don't know what the weigh-in's going to look like tomorrow, but I'm interested to see where he's at as far as weights go.
I think it's going to be interesting because, like you said, if he has to cut a lot, that's going to play into how he's feeling going into Saturday, and that's going to be also, once he sees the weigh-ins, how the public kind of reacts, and you might see the odds shift a little bit after those weigh-ins, but I don't know. I'm excited.
According to the UFC.com odds, right now, Max Holloway minus 118 and Poirier minus 102. Fellas, how do you feel about those numbers?
Yeah, and the odds are pretty close. When you look at ESPN Bet right now, Max Holloway currently the minus 130 favorite, and Poirier the plus 110. So, I mean, it's about as even as you can get. I mean, it's basically a 50-50 shot no matter what book you look at. So, I think they're going to keep shifting a little bit, but I don't see the odds getting real crazy one way or the other, even as we get closer to Saturday.
I could see it swinging Poirier's way just a little bit because people get sentimental. They're like, oh, it's his last fight. We're going to bet on him. But we'll see. Yeah, I'd say about minus 110 each way. I think I could see it.
You'll find me to be one of the biggest Poirier haters, by the way.
Really?
Yep. We'll get into that in a later episode.
Really?
But I have not been his biggest fan, to say the least, throughout his career. So, fellas, let's start at the early prelims, and let's run it from there. We are going to talk about every single fight from early prelim to the final final fight on the main card. At 5 p.m. Central Time, fellas, we have Carly Judas and Nicole Cagliari, and Judas is the huge favorite, minus 350.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be pretty straightforward. I don't really see any reason looking through the stats that Judas should lose this fight. I got Judas minus 350.
I'm going to go against the crowd a little bit here. I think Nicole does take this. And the thing that Judas, 11 significant strikes per minute is crazy, right? But she has lost a decision before. This other, Nicole averages almost 4 takedowns a fight with only 29% accuracy, but with a 1.2 submission attempt average. I think if she can get to the ground for 3 rounds, I think she can win a decision. But if she stays on the feet, I don't see it happening, but I think she can get it to the ground. So I'm going to go with Nicole plus 270 here.
I actually have Nicole as well. I just think that she's fought more. Now,
yes.
Fighting
That's
more
true.
also means a little bit more, but Judas has 6 inches of reach. How much does that mean? I don't know, but Cagliari is going to want to take her down. You know, she averages 4 takedowns a fight, where Judas averages 1. So if Cagliari can get in there, I think that it could be a fight for her. But I see where Cole's going here.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
The next fight, Bruno Ferreira and Jackson McVeigh. The huge favorite, minus 700, is Bruno. Fellas, what do you think?
This one's interesting because Jackson McVeigh is 6-0. He's never fought in the UFC. And he's won, 3 of his last 5 have been won by TKO. I don't know. It's going to be weird. I think there's a reason probably that Vegas has him at the minus 700. I'm just sticking with chalk so far. I'm taking Ferreira at the minus 700 for my pick in this fight.
I'm with you there too. Not having any UFC experience scares me. You just never know what you're going to get. Bruno has been knocked out once, so there is that. But I'm just going to go with Bruno. Probably the safe pick here, so I guess we'll see.
I'm going against it. I'm taking McVeigh. I'm going to ride and say that there's no way he loses against this random Brazilian, right? But 6 years of age gap as well. But again, first UFC fight.
And McVeigh is 6 inches taller and has 5 inches more reach. But again, he's brand new to the UFC. I got no idea what to expect. Would I be shocked if he won? No. Would I be shocked if he got knocked out in the first round? Also no. I think it's just kind of just shooting in the dark.
There's a real reason this fight is the early prelims, because nobody knows what McVeigh has to bring to the table. As Caden mentioned, Bruno getting knocked out, or has been knocked out, in the past. How much does that come into this middleweight bout? Also, may I mention, on ESPN2 for those of you that don't have ESPN Plus. So we're only split on one right now, Caden.
Yeah.
Other than that, Cole, we're all
all right.
We're totally split.
That's all right.
One more, the odds being plus 450 for a dude that's undefeated, it might be worth just a sprinkle just because it's that thing. We have no
like when you
idea.
said that.
We have no idea.
No clue.
I mean, I could see it going either way. I'm going to stick with the -700, but you never know.
Sure.
You just never know.
The next fight, a heavyweight bout, Ryan Spann and Lucas Brzeski. Both of these fellas, I think are close as far as attributes goes. Vegas, however, says -225 and plus 185 for Brzeski, -225 for Spann.
I think this is going to be a classic heavyweight slugfest. We were going to talk about it before we started. It just like, I don't know. It's just, there, like you said, there's a reason this is in the early prelims. I don't think it's going to be a very interesting fight. I got the favorite Spann.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a short fight. I got a feeling. Both of these guys are 1-4 in their last fights, so not the best. They've both been knocked out by the same guy. So I also have Spann, but it's a puncher's chance. One punch, the fight's over. I'm gonna go with Spann, but I can see it either way.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think that it does not go the distance, just for the main fact that I don't think either of these guys have the stamina to go the whole fight. One of them's gonna get tired and do something that causes them to be mistakenly put in a terrible position. With the power you have at heavyweight, anything like Caden said can change the fight. A puncher's chance is really what it is. But I have Spann in that one.
Finally agreed on one.
Finally,
I thought we'd
consensus.
agree before that, but there we go.
A light heavyweight bout. Next, Jimmy Crute and Marcin Prachnio, I believe is the pronunciation there. The Polish man. Crute favored -320 and plus 250 for Prachnio.
Yeah, Crute is 8 years younger. Other than that, all the attributes are the same. Way more takedowns he averages. Also averages way more submission attempts. I got Jimmy Crute in this one. Also, I really like him by submission at plus 150. I think you're getting some pretty good value for a guy that is likely going to be in a lot of control situations in this fight. So, I mean, overall I'm taking Crute, but I think the submission plus 150 is great value.
Yeah, I like Crute here. I don't see him losing. Almost 4 takedowns a fight. That's good numbers. The age, lot of year difference. If you can find a book that has control time for Crute, I like that. I don't know if he'll go for a submission right away or he might just land on for a couple rounds. But yeah, either way, I see Crute taking this one.
Yeah, I do as well. I think what it comes down to, not necessarily attributes. Age is the big thing, like Cole mentioned. I think age is going to be a big factor in this. I think Crute just wears the guy down and wins this one. The Australian takes that one 3-0 right now. We go back-to-back on picks here is consensus. The last fight of early prelims is Adam Fugit and Islam Dulatov. There we go. Islam is the favorite by a long shot, -650, whereas Fugit plus 425.
Yeah, Dulatov 11-1, 10 years younger, 14 significant strikes average per minute, 5.5 takedowns on average. I think Vegas has a really good reason for this to be -650. I also like him by KO, TKO or disqualification. Like what -160 last night? So yeah, -160. I think that's my play.
Yeah, Islam on a 10-fight win streak. I mean, those numbers 14-5, very inflated because he's fought never actually in the UFC. Has one fight in the Contender Series. I think he gets the win, but those stats will definitely be going down. But who knows? I think he wins regardless.
I think Islam wins this as well. I think he's a scary dude. What he did in the Contender Series was impressive. The guy has the attributes to be good at welterweight. 6'3", 171 pounds. I think that's right where you need to be. He's a scary MFer, if you will. at the welterweight spot. The German takes the win in all of our opinions. We move on to not early prelims, but the actual prelims. That first fight is Ateba Gadier, I believe, from Cameroon, and Robert Valentin from Switzerland. Gadier, I think the R is silent, I would guess, could be Gadier. Minus 600, pretty wide line there.
Yeah, 23 years old, 81 inches of reach. Again, I think Vegas is a really good reason for him to be the favorite. I got him at minus 600. I didn't see any great value in any of his other fight odds. He's minus 230 to win by KO. I mean, usually I would take that, but that's a little low on the odds for value-wise. So if you're going to take him, I mean, I'm just going to watch this one, but Gaudier's my pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Gaudier too. If you're looking for fireworks, he is 7-1. He has one fight in the UFC, one in the Contender Series, but he has 6 knockouts with five of them coming in the first round. The other one coming in the second. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be a fast fight. I got Gaudier.
First round knockout, maybe?
I can see it.
I also have Gaudier in this one. The Cameroonian takes the win in all of our opinions. We've been pretty together here.
Yeah.
Does it change next? We'll find out. A welterweight bout. Francisco Prado and Nikolay Veretennikov, I think is how it is, from Kazakhstan.
Mm-hmm.
But Prado favored minus 150. A little bit thinner line here than the last few fights, it seems, fellas.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit closer. You can't really get much. There's really nothing really crazy line-wise. I'm actually taking the underdog from Ukraine in this one as my pick. Just wanted to switch things up a little bit. I took the minus 700 favorite, the minus 600 favorite. Might as well take the plus 120 underdog. So Veretennikov, he's my pick in this one.
I'm going to go against you. I got Prado. I mean, Prado is 12 years younger. That's massive.
Yeah.
There's no real takedown threat for either of them. The significant strikes, he throws like 1 or 2 more a minute. I think Prado probably by decision, but I would just take Prado straight up. I'm going to go with Prado.
I also have Nikolay Veretennikov in this one, but I don't know where I stand as far as how I think the fight's going to end. I just think that, at some point there's going to be a deciding factor in that second round that really decides how this one ends up. This one on ESPN, by the way, this non-early prelim, by the way. The next fight, a middleweight bout, Marvin Vettori and Brendan Allen. Allen favored minus 210, whereas Vettori is plus 175. Who do you guys got here?
I think this one's going to be a solid fight. Vettori coming in, that slight underdog, 19-8-1. Brendan Allen, 24-7. I took Vettori as the underdog, plus 175. Really don't have any big reason for that. I just think that if he can stay away from Brendan Allen really getting a lot of control time, you see he likes to get those submissions in there a little bit more often. I think he can just stay on his feet. Vettori's going to have a good chance in this one.
Yeah, they've both been struggling lately, but Vettori has fought the bigger names, and their stats are takedowns very similar. They're very similar statistically. But I took the favorite. I went with Allen. I don't know. I could see either way. Probably goes the distance, but I don't know. We'll see.
I also took Allen here. I think this is going to be a great fight. I think if you're in a circle one, just all-out brawl that, maybe not necessarily a brawl. It could be more of a finesse fight here. But I did take Brendan Allen, the number 11 ranked fighter at the middleweight class. The last fight in the prelims, Kyler Phillips and Vinicius Oliveira. Minus 155 is Vinicius, the Brazilian, over Kyler Phillips, who is plus 130.
Yeah, I think this one, just kind of looking at it, I believe if I remember correctly, Phillips has lost three out of his last 5. 3 out of his last 6, a couple of them, but they're by decision. I got Oliveira 22-3 as the favorite, minus 155. Again, love to formulate a great reason for you, but with these close fights, especially in these prelims. This will be the last prelim fight. I think it's going to be a pretty good fight, and I got the Brazilian.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I could see it either way, but I'm with Oliveira. I don't know. Similar stats again, just like the last fight, but I went with Oliveira, I think.
I'm with you guys as well. And finally, we get another one all on the same page, but close line there at the bantamweight spot. And those two fighters, 12 and 15. Oliveira, the 15th ranked fighter, I'm guessing newly ranked 15th fighter at bantamweight. Let's talk about the main card. Finally, we get a Michael Johnson fight and Daniel Zellhuber from Mexico. Zellhuber is minus 650 though.
Yeah, it's going to be I really don't want to call it a stinker to start off the main card, but probably will be the closest of fights. I got the favorite.
Yeah, me too. I could see him finishing him, but if you wanted to take a flyer with good odds, Michael Johnson at plus 425. He has the experience. He is 13 years older, but if it's a slow fight, just a control fight, I could see Johnson taking a decision, but I'm going to go with Zellhuber. Should go with Zellhuber.
Yeah, I got Daniel Zellhuber as well. I have the Mexican taking the lightweight bout. That is the only fight of the main card with no ranked contenders. Featherweight bout next. Dan Ige and Patricio Pitbull. What a last name. Ige, the favorite, minus 220, where Pitbull is plus 180.
Yeah, Ige younger, more reach, more strikes, a little bit more of a takedown. Minus 220 favorite. I thought about taking it to not go the full distance in this fight, but I'm just gonna take Ige straight up minus 220.
Yeah, I went with Pitbull here. He looked very bad against Yair Rodriguez in his last fight, but it was his first fight in UFC. He was a Bellator champion. He was very good over there. It's very different coming from Bellator to UFC. I think Pitbull can take it. I think Dan Ige gets overhyped because he stepped in and fought Lopez last year, and people name brand definitely can move lines. I like Pitbull here.
I actually have Ige kind of contradicting Caden and I's alignment tonight, but no, I do have Ige. I think it's going to be a close fight, and Vegas thinks so too. But I think that the only difference, possibly the reach, if Ige can keep him away, that is expected. Interesting line, guys. Only plus 275 for Ige by knockout, where it's plus 1,400 for Pitbull. But I have the 11th ranked contender at featherweight.
Good one to go the distance.
Yes.
Good one to go the distance.
For sure. The welterweight bout following this is Kevin Holland and Daniel Rodriguez. Holland favored minus 550, whereas Rodriguez plus 375. Holland, the 13th ranked fighter at the welterweight division.
Rodriguez is going to try to put up a pretty good fight. He likes to really throw punches. He's just got a little age. He's 38 now. Gotta take Kevin Holland.
Better call Kev. You got to take Kev. You never know what you're going to get, but he showed very good ground game in his last fight, which was, a month ago. It's his fourth fight this year already.
Dude fights a lot.
He's going for 6 this year, and I think he's on great pace. So I'm going to go with Kevin. I could see him winning the fight either way, but yeah, I'm going to go with Kevin Holland.
I also have Kevin Holland here, keeping us all in line at the welterweight division. Let's get to one of the bigger, more controversial fights, maybe, of the night. The middleweight bout, Paulo Costa and Roman Kopylov. The Russian and the Brazilian going at it. It is the 13 and 14, respectively, going at a pretty important middleweight bout, the second to last fight of the night.
It's going to be an interesting one, 14 and 4 against 14 and 3. Like I said, Kopylov the favorite, minus 240. He's actually even to win by decision. I just got him straight up. Like I said, wish I could tell you a great reason on why. I just picked him. I'm sticking with him.
Saw Paulo Costa. He's talking about how he's going to call for his title shot after he wins. Unfortunately, that's not going to be happening Saturday night. Kopylov's going to win this fight. Paulo Costa has one win in the last 5 years, and it was against Luke Rockhold, who was 36 or 37 at the time. I just don't see it. Paulo Costa, I don't think he has it anymore. If he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong, but I don't think he gets it done Saturday night.
I think the Russian takes it as well. I don't think that Costa can hang with what Kopylov can do. I think Roman may be a little bit slower than he has been in previous fights, and you'll see that come through, but at the same time, he's a bad Russian dude who is going to get it done on Saturday night in all of our opinions. We talked about it. Now we're going to make our picks. The big fight, the main event, and for the BMF belt, Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. Holloway favored right now, -130. Expect that line to change heading into Saturday night.
Yeah, last time these two guys fought April 13th, 2019. The time before that was February 4th, 2012.
Holloway's first fight in the UFC.
Dustin Poirier 2-0. I think he makes it 3-0.
I'm right there with you. The heart's pulling a little bit here too. I love them both. Either way, you can't really be mad. Well, you could, but I love them both. I think Poirier takes it. It's going to be if it ends up like the last fight, it's going to be a great fight. Fight of the night contender for sure. Yeah, I'm going to go with Dustin.
I could see it going either way. And as I mentioned earlier, I just can't pick Poirier to win a fight. I have Holloway taking the narrow win, but I really don't think it's going to be by knockout. I really just do not see that happening, fellas. But I have Holloway taking it. But don't take advice from me here. I have never picked main cards good or main cards well. I pick with my my feelings, not my actual good intelligence or
Heart,
good
not
faith.
your head.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's get into our last big things of the week. And reminder to those watching, we are providing our own opinions for these picks. This is not good advice. Do your own research. If you so choose to follow us, we are not making you do that. So, fellas,
would not recommend it.
our format for doing this moving forward, as this is episode 1, we're going to have 3 picks every week. One will be a lock of the week, where we believe it is the most, there's 0 chance it's not going to hit. We'll have an underdog of the week, who we feel actually, and the line has to be of a dog line. And then we have one pick that we're going to put into a group parlay, which we will put together and see how it turns out. But we feel like that can be part of something as well. We don't know each other's picks before this happens, so if it dupes out, it dupes out. We'll figure it out from there. I don't think it will, but we'll work on that moving forward. So I'm going to start with Cole. We'll go to Caden, and we'll go to myself. We'll change up the order as we go. Let's talk about the lock of the week in the UFC 318 bout this Saturday.
I mentioned it a couple times before we started recording. It's going to be in the early prelims. It's going to be the 4th fight of the night. Jimmy Crute is my lock of the week. I told you I liked the value by submission. I just like him in the fight overall. I think you're getting pretty good value right now. He's a decently heavy favorite. That's why I went with a submission pick. But just straight up, Jimmy Crute, lock of the week.
Yeah. 318, lock of the week. I'm going to go Atiba Gaudier. Wins it. I just don't see a way he loses this fight, honestly. He's young, a lot younger. The experience kind of scares me. Not really. I'm going to go with Gaudier to win this one.
I have the second to last fight. I actually have Roman Kopylov. Straight up. I just think that there's just way too much going for him right now to not take this fight. That is my lock of the week at 318. Caden, back to you for the underdog of the week on 318.
My underdog of the week right now sitting at +180, Patricio Pitbull. I'm a believer in the Pitbull. He let me down last time. I don't think he's going to do it again. Give me the Pitbull.
I got, still in the prelims, we're not quite in the main card yet, Marvin Vettori +175 against Brandon Allen. We're kind of split on that. I'm sticking with him. He's my dog of the week.
My dog of the week at 318 comes via Nikolay Veretennikov, +120. Just hear me out. +120. Not a huge margin of value that could be received there. However, he is a dog. I feel like he has the tools to win that puppy, and I actually have him winning that fight over Francisco Prado. Our group parlay. This is big, guys. We're putting money. We're going to pool money together. to make this happen, so we have to get this right. So whatever you do, don't mess it up. Caden, what do you have?
So for my pick, I'm going to the main event. I'm going to take Max Holloway over 132 and a half significant strikes. I see it being a long fight. I see him reaching that number. So over 132 and a half strikes for Max Holloway.
For my pick, we are going back to the final fight in the prelims.
I like it.
Phillips and Oliveira. It is not going to go the distance. That's my play of the week. Phillips and Oliveira not to go the distance. Currently sits right now plus 140.
It's a good spot for it. Mine is, it's there, but it's not crazy. I have Holland and Rodriguez over 7.5 minutes of fight time. I just feel like those two guys are going to duke it out. You could maybe even bump that up to 8.5 if you're feeling it. But I feel like those two guys are going to sit in there and get their check. So minus 170 is where that is sitting at for our group parlay. So to recap, you have significant strikes.
Holloway significant strikes.
Holloway significant strikes.
Yep, I got Kyler Phillips and Vinicius Oliveira not to go the distance, plus 140.
And I got Holland and Rodriguez over 7.5 minutes. So, all right, that kind of wraps up our picks of the week. Any final thoughts before 318?
I think it's going to be fun. We went through some of the fights. There's obviously, we're going to have some dud fights, as you do with every card. But it's all going to be capped off. But what I think is going to be a great main event. You're going to have some pretty good fights on the main card too. You take away that first one, I think those last four are going to be pretty good, and I'm excited. It's obviously going to be a late night. It always is, but I'm ready.
If Royval versus Van hadn't happened, Holloway versus Poirier, I think, would definitely be a contender for fight of the year. Unfortunately, that fight, I just don't think gets beat. This might come close. It's going to be a good fight. Not a lot of huge names, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be good fights, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you know what? That might come into play. These guys might have a chip on their shoulders, so that comes into it as well. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what some non-big names, if you will, can make happen in the ring on Saturday night. The highest ranked guy, not in the main card, is 11th ranked or 10th ranked Marvin Vettori, who is fighting prelims. So that's as good as we get for unknown guys. If you're going to circle one fight besides the main card guys that you think is going to throw down, my last question for you, fight of the night isn't the main card. What do you have besides Holloway and Poirier?
Put me on the spot.
Yeah,
I gotta go back through it now.
That's a good question.
I think Islam versus Adam, going to be fireworks. Could be early, could be a short fight, but I think what we do see of it, I think there could be a lot of good punches thrown. Be a good one.
Yeah, I was actually thinking right along those same lines. Both guys kind of don't really know what you're going to get, especially out of Islam. So, especially in those early prelims on ESPN2, you really truly never know what you're going to get in those fights. I think there's going to be a little action-packed.
All right, the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana, Saturday night. The main card starts at 9 p.m. We're looking forward to it. Holloway and Poirier 3 for the BMF belt at UFC 318. This has been the Common Man podcast talking about UFC. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Guys, final thoughts.
I thought it went great. I think this is definitely something that we're going to do much more often as the year keeps rolling along. I just think catch a little bit of steam. I'm excited.
I think there's a chance we come back, look at this Sunday morning, and realize we were very common people talking about these fights, but we'll see. Hopefully not, but it'll be good regardless.
And that's the point of why we're coming together. I think that sometimes there needs to be a little bit of fresh air when it comes to content, specifically about UFC. I don't know if there's a lot of it. Like Caden said to start the thing off, we're hoping to fill a little bit of a gap in a really fun, really energetic sport that is the UFC. Well, thank you for tuning in. This has been episode 1. We will see you guys all next week with microphones. We're excited. We'll be back. Thanks for watching.